Hello everybody, John here, and today while we're driving through the Derbyshire countryside, I thought I'd just take a few minutes to chat with you and answer a few questions that have been coming up online in the community. Some because I didn't get a chance to answer them in videos, some because they're repeated questions, so obviously a lot of people are interested in them, and a few other odds and sods. So my Navara Np300 has now reached 44,000 miles. In breaking news, I have just changed the tyres, and there'll be a video coming up rather soon on what I've changed them to, why, and a bit of a comparison. So that to come soon. Apologies for not name checking everybody who sent in a question, but many of you will recognise your own questions coming up. First one I wanted to deal with was that 2 or 3 kind of connected questions about seat comfort and is the Navara Np300 any good for larger people to drive, given that the steering wheel doesn't have the full range of adjustments that you might hope for, i.e. it's got rake but not reach. So first thing to say is I'm 5'10", and I have the seat as a rule, just block off the light a little bit, as a rule I have the seat close to the top of its travel. And that's just because I like to be able to see where I'm going better. And above my head, I've got the width of my fist. So it's a good 4 inches above me. So height-wise, I don't think too many people are going to struggle. Also, you note that I do have the sunroof, and the sunroof does reduce headspace just a little bit. So again, without that, you'd have even more headspace. Next is thigh room. So again, seat close to the top of its travel. I have the steering wheel pushed up a fair amount, not quite at the top, but close to the top of its rake position. And again, by look more than judgment, same measurement, thickness of my fist, from the top of my thigh to the bottom of the steering wheel. So there's about 4 inches of clearance there. So again, when you factor in the fact that you can drop the seat a fair amount, I don't think that's going to give anybody any real difficulties. Very low sun today. It's winter in the UK and 17 degrees. Can't make it up. So the next on the same theme is, what if I'm really broad, bigger people? Are these seats any good for that? I can only comment on myself and guess for everybody else, but you know, I'm no string bean. I'm a normal, average, I should say, sized adult, I guess, and I find these seats very comfortable. But equally, they are quite flat. They've got a gentle curve to the backrests and the bases. They're not bucket seats. They don't have any silly wings that stick out or anything like that. And there is lots of space between me and the door at the top, and between my thigh and the door on the side. So I'm guessing that the bigger framed person is going to be perfectly adequately accommodated by these seats, and you're not going to feel like it's too narrow for you. We've had questions about lumbar support and adjustment, and I can only comment on a UK spec Tecna. So I've got the top of the range seats that are leather and have electrical adjustment on the driver's side. And I do have a lumbar support electrically adjusted using a switch on the side of my seat. It's only an in and out thing. You can't adjust the height of it, and it's not an inflatable. It's a mechanical movement, and that fits rather well in the small of my back. Again, sort of, I guess, average size adult. Just concentrate on the traffic. So all in all, I think that the front seats are well suited to larger people, and I find them particularly comfortable, and I do some pretty serious miles. I know that a lot of you enjoyed this series of videos I've done on removing various parts from your Navara. Seems like the theme running through that is lots of you want to eliminate the chrome, bright work, etc. To customise your vehicles. A lot of people want to go for the matte black look or body coloured look, and removing the chrome trim obviously helps to do that neatly. I do regularly get people saying, can you remove this, can you remove that, can you remove the other? And I'd love to satisfy all of your inquiries with a quick video, but it purely is just a lack of time for me, because this is my daily drive, and when I get home at the weekend, the prospect of whipping the headlining out to show people how to remove the roof rails, it just takes a little bit too long for the time I've got available. So all those things can come, but you just have to bear with me. On the roof rails one, while I'm on it, because it is a popular ask, how do you remove the roof rails? Unfortunately, the roof rails on this vehicle are not sitting on clips of any variety. There is no panels in the roof rail to flick open and basically release it from some attachments. If you want the roof rails off this, you have to remove the headlining from the vehicle, which is not an onerous task. It's not difficult, but it is time consuming. There's a lot of bits and pieces that have to come out to do that without damaging it. And then essentially you're just going to find a series of bolts. I think there's 6, straight through the roof, through holes in the roof, up into the roof rails. So yes, you can remove them. Yes, that's going to help you if you want to spray them up. If you wanted to eliminate them, then you would have to fit grommets or go to some real effort in terms of bodywork to fill the holes back in. Miles per gallon, a few comments basically saying that I've got me adding up wrong, calculating my MPG. I haven't, but I do fully understand where you guys are coming from. So a UK gallon is different to an American gallon. UK gallons are larger. So sorry for any confusion that might have caused. Obviously I'm going to quote in the units of measure for the country in which I live. I've typically converted that to litres per 100 kilometres as well, but omitted the fact that in the States you do have a different size gallon. So apologies for that. I've had a few comments back following on from the hypermiling and Np300 video. Some really interesting stuff came out of that. Lots of you sharing your miles per gallon. Thank you so much. It seems that whilst I'm at maybe the top end of the range for what I'm getting to the gallon, by no means unique and certainly not the best that anybody's done. So I'm reporting up to about 43 miles per gallon on long journeys on roads like the ones you're watching right at the moment, with a little bit of countryside at either end. We've had people reporting up to 46, maybe even creeping into the 47s on similarly long drives. And I think the theme is that all those people who have reported them big miles have been folks who actually enjoy trying to squeeze the most out of their vehicles. I think it would be fair to say that 38 miles per gallon has been a recurring theme from the people that have commented to me on their miles, but we are seeing also a range that leads down to about 30. An awful lot of it will depend on your driving style, the types of roads and road surface that you're commonly running on, loaded, unloaded, etc, etc. So you cannot be very precise and say what anybody's going to get miles per gallon. On the AdBlue front, a lot of you enjoying a good giggle at me trying to fill up the car with the big container of AdBlue. A lot of comments about using smaller containers. Yes, that would be very sensible, but a couple of people did suggest that I find a commercial vehicle outlets, dealerships, etc, who would have AdBlue on pump. We do have a few AdBlue pumps in the UK on petrol stations, but they're not the norm, so it's quite difficult to pull up to a nozzle. I did go to a commercial vehicle retailer and pull up on their forecourt and managed to find a AdBlue pump. Excellent, that was a lot easier. And I also managed to track down one of the petrol stations that had an AdBlue pump. And obviously in both circumstances, it's a lot easier, a lot better idea. So that's great, but also it is substantially cheaper. So I recommend to everybody, go look for AdBlue pumps rather than the bottles and containers where you can. I've got quite a lot of subscribers in places like Malaysia, Philippines, and really great to hear a lot of commentary from you guys. Seem to love your pickup trucks and Navaras, and it's through you guys that I made the revelation that not all Navaras are four-wheel drive, because in the UK at the moment the Np300 we only get in 4x4s. So quite surprised at how many of you are driving 4x2s. I only need a 4x2, but I could only get a 4x4. Following on from my video about hardtop leaks, or at least perceived hardtop leaks, I put a poll on the community tab. Have a look there if you haven't already had a little look, allowing people to sort of vote or share which hardtop they have, if they have a hardtop at all, or do they have a canopy. Just for my idle interest, and I said I'd share back the results. I'm going to let that run a little bit longer before it's definitive, but what it does show is, whilst the Truckman top, the one I have, is a popular top, it's not the dominant number that I thought would come out. I thought that 70% of all people who had a top would be driving around for a Truckman, particularly in the UK, and everything else would make up fractions. No, there are others out there that are popular as well. However, it has reinforced my opinion that the Nissan top, the official Nissan top, is not a common or popular choice, given that when you're at most dealers, that's literally the one in the catalogue. So if you want a top, it should be the default choice. Not so many of us have got those, and if your experience has been anything like mine, you're almost been deterred from using that top by the dealers themselves. I don't know if that's because there's some sort of franchise deal, they get a little bit of money by recommending something else, but they don't seem too keen. I was told that because of the unusual side windows they do leak, and basically put off one, but I'd been put off by the looks of it anyway. I just thought it was a little bit too out there for me. So with the sun starting to set on yet another lovely day, I'm going to carry on with my ploughing through traffic, and hope that you guys have a good day.